This is the 8th annual Santa Rosa Junior College Petaluma Campus Building Community Breakfast, hosted by the Friends of Petaluma Campus Trust. This event was made possible through the generous support of the following silver sponsors: Clover Sonoma, Exchange Bank, JL Construction, Lakes House Linen Supply, Incorporated, Mahoney Davidson Company Property Management, Torkelson Associates, LLP, Certified Public Accountants. We would also like to thank the event table sponsors: AAUW, Bank of Marin, Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage, Deans Kim Stark and Matthew Long, Don Ramachi Insurance Incorporated, Enzo Wealth Management, North Bay MEPS, Mechanical, Electrical, Plumbing, and Fire Sprinklers, Parish Properties, Petaluma Argus Courier, Petaluma Healthcare District, Petaluma Health Center, Pacenti & Brinker LLP, Certified Public Accountants and Advisors, Poppy Bank, Post Wellness by Design, Rod Moore, Attorney at Law, Rotary Club of Petaluma, St. Joseph Health, DPP Architecture, Trustee Mackie Fishman and Bill Fishman, Zandex Incorporated.
Good morning, and welcome to SRJC Petaluma's 8th annual Building Community Breakfast, presented in collaboration with the Friends of Petaluma Campus Trust in the heart of Petaluma's College District. I'm Jane Saldana-Talley. I'm the proud SRJC Vice President of Academic Affairs and longtime executive responsible for this beautiful campus. I'm also your host for today's program. I hope you enjoy your breakfast and had some pre-event fun during our welcome reception, and maybe even got a selfie with Roscoe or Fresno or Dr. Chong. And thanks to Taylor Lane Coffee for donating our morning caffeine fix. I know I definitely needed it this morning. Before we go any further, I want to give a heartfelt shout out to today's silver sponsors who've raised the bar in support of this year's breakfast and whose generosity we so deeply appreciate. Our thanks this year to returning silver sponsors Clover Sonoma, Exchange Bank, Lace House Linen Supply Incorporated, who always provides the linens for our events, Mahoney Davidson and Company Property Management, Torkelson Associates LLP, Certified Public Accountants, and this year's newest silver sponsor, JL Construction. Please join me in giving them all a big hand. It's also my pleasure every year to acknowledge our elected officials who are here with us this morning. So as I call out your name, please stand, give everyone a wave. And if the audience can resist, which you never do, please hold your applause until I've introduced them all. With us this morning is Blake Hooper, who's here today for U.S. Representative Jared Huffman from California's 2nd Congressional District. He's the district director. From Petaluma City Council is Mayor Teresa Barrett, Vice Mayor Kevin McDonald, Council Member Mike Healy, and Council Member Kathy Miller. From Petaluma City Schools District Board of Education, Clerk Maddie Cloud, former board president from 2016 to 18, Sherry Chablowski, and former trustee Mike Baddeley. Here with us from the Petaluma Healthcare District Board is CEO Ramona Faith, Director at Large Gabriela Ambrosi, and former board member Joe Stern. Here with us from the Santa Rosa Junior College Board of Trustees, trustee from the Petaluma area Maggie Fishman, trustee Jeff Kunde, trustee and former Board of Trustees Onita Pellegrini, and I'm really pleased to recently elected student trustee Daniel Pablo, sitting down here in front, our student trustee, and former member of the Board of Trustees Kathleen Doyle. We also have a number of VIPs in the room with us today that I'd like to introduce. SRJC Foundation Board of Directors Chair Jeff Bricker, Treasurer Kate Jolly, a member of the board, Doug Garrison, and of course, our SRJC Foundation Executive Director, Kate McClintock. And lastly, but certainly not least for this event, Friends of the Petaluma Campus Trust and my co-host for today's event, Chair Mike Harris, Chair-elect Lori Enix Torkelson, immediate past Chair Tony Parrish, and members John Dado, Kathleen Doyle, Ramona Faith, Maggie Fishman, Doug Garrison, Jeff Bricker, Marcia Harris, Noah Jacobson, Christina Kalk, Carol Ann Labarle, Carrie Mahoney-Davison, Rod Moore, Warren Payne, Doris Tolks, and our faculty representative, Molly Matheson. Can we give all of them a great hand, please? Thank you for your service to our community and your support of SRJC Petaluma. Before we get started, I have one special acknowledgement I'd like to make. Kate McClintock, Executive Director of the SRJC Foundation, recently announced her retirement, effective this coming December. Kate joined the foundation in 2008, not too long after I came to the college, and immediately joined up with me and the Friends as we pursued a capital campaign intended to support the expansion of our original campus, made possible by the Measure A bond. Since that time, funds raised to support SRJC Petaluma have nearly doubled, and the assets of the SRJC Foundation have grown at an astonishing rate year over year, now topping somewhere over $62 million. Thank you, Kate, for all you have done to support this campus, SRJC students, and our community. You will be missed. Let's show our appreciation to Kate. She's there in the back. All right, now on with the program. If you were here last year, you may recall that the State of the Campus presentations by Deans Matthew Long and Catherine Williams, as well as the comments of our featured speaker, Lee Sada, each presented details of the Measure H funded projects coming to the Petaluma campus. 1 year later, I'm overjoyed to announce the groundbreaking ceremony for our Petaluma campus projects will be immediately following this breakfast. It marks a symbolic and nonetheless significant turning point toward our dream of expanded science offerings and continued interdisciplinary innovation, as well as a redesigned student-centered guaranteed to ensure that students on this campus are welcomed, guided, and engaged as we promise them. My thanks again to SRJC's Board of Trustees for including this project on the early start list of Measure H projects. If you're a property owner like me, I urge you in this place, on this day, to revel in your investment. Appreciate what you've made possible in your community and celebrate with us the opportunity realized when you have a world-class community college in your own backyard. So at this time, we got usually we have the national anthem, and we're going to pivot just a little bit because we had a singer, student singer, who was going to be joining us, and she was not able to. And so what I'd like, we've got a stand-in artist that's going to come and help lead us all, if we will all sing the national anthem.
Good morning. Please join me in the singing of the national anthem. Maggie, it's not in my job description.
Here's the words.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Play ball.
If nothing else, he's got guts, right? All right. So back to our program. The 8th for the 5th. This is the 8th year I've had the privilege of introducing SRJC's 5th college president from this podium. And were he the one making this introduction, many of you know he would have said something far more witty and off the cuff than I. I just don't even try. Frank Chong joined SRJC in the spring of 2012, and I've been blessed to serve alongside him over his entire tenure as he has strategically and intentionally moved this now 101-year-old college into its second century. I've witnessed firsthand and up close his passion and love for SRJC and Sonoma County, but mostly our students and their success. His "I won't take, can't be done as an answer" attitude resulted in the passage of Measure H, Sonoma County's largest ever bond measure, fundamentally reshaped the face of SRJC's workforce to reflect and respond to our community and the communities of our future, sort of like making Supreme Court appointments. And more recently, launched a successful public-private partnership to build critically needed student housing on the Santa Rosa campus. To describe him as social is to wildly misrepresent the extent to which his energy and drive and interpersonal stamina has benefited SRJC. He is quite literally everywhere, and some days I suspect there are more than one of him. Earlier this year, I heard him introduced as the cool president, and I have to agree. When last I checked, he had 1,932 friends on Facebook, and I'm sure that number will be even higher after this day is over. Leadership at the helm of institutions such as SRJC is challenging at best. It takes courage and grit, a willingness to listen and learn, and an innate ability to know when to pivot or stay the course. Frank Chong's legacy as SRJC's 5th president will be remembered first by the people he touched, and then by the educational experience and care for basic human needs he made possible through the facilities we will enjoy well beyond his tenure at SRJC. It is my most sincere pleasure to introduce for the 8th time SRJC President's incomparable 5th president, Dr. Frank Chong.
Thank you, Jane. How did I know that her evaluation's coming up? Seriously, I'm really blessed to work with a wonderful management team. I want to also introduce Pedro Avila, our Vice President of Student Services, who's here, Serafin Fernandez, who heads our bond projects, and just a host of everybody. I want all of the employees, the faculty, staff, and administrators at SRJC, please stand up and be recognized. Let's give them a big round of applause. Invariably, I give this talk, the Warriors are either headed to the championship or I guarantee the Warriors will be back. I can't say this year, maybe next year, but let's hope and pray. I really, really appreciate all of you getting up this early this morning to join me. I really, like the Warriors, I feel like I'm overseeing a dream team. I have the best faculty, the best administrators, and the best students. And you're going to hear from them today, and they're going to really outline for you what's really going on in the weeds. You know, from where I sit and stand, I would just say that I can't be more proud of SRJC this year. In our 101st year, we're really, as Jane said, pivoting to try to be relevant and responsive to the needs of the community. I'm very, very excited about our student housing project. It's been 3 years in the making. It's something that our trustees like Maggie Fishman's on my case and said, Dr. Chong, we really need student housing. So we've come up with a public-private partnership. It's going to be a $40 million project, and it's going to start next year, breaking ground, and we hope to have it in place for fall of 2022. It's going to house 370 students that are looking for affordable housing. So I'm very, very proud of it. So thank you. Thank you to my team. Furthermore, we're continuing to really try to get our fiscal house in order. This is something that all of you, many of you are in the business, and my fellow colleague, Gary Callahan, we have to balance the budget every year. And it seems like there's greater needs every year, and the state gives us fewer funding. So I think we've been, as many of you in this audience know, you have to be fiscally solvent in order to run the agency. So we've done steps to do that. We've kind of had a diet on our schedule. We've eliminated low-enrolled classes that were money losers for us, and we've tried to really find out the type of central programs that students need and want in order to graduate. We're really pushing for students to complete their certificates and degrees, and I'm proud to say 2 weeks ago at our commencement, we graduated 1,875 students who had 2,400 degrees. So we're putting them out there, and thank you. And it's really thanks to the faculty, people like John Stover, Amanda Morrison, who help us work, and you'll hear from them today. It's really an amazing institution when you think about it, but it's not one that just ends with the borders of the campus. It really extends out into the community. And can I ask again, I usually ask this, how many in the audience attended SRJC? Raise your hands. Okay, I'm preaching to the choir. You guys know how the college has impacted your life. And as I often say, what I really want is for these students here to have the same opportunities you had. Because in order to really make America great, we're going to need to have a trained future workforce. And SRJC does that every day, and I couldn't be more proud of it. And for you, as alumni who are paying it forward by being here, by showing your support, and really appreciating what the JC has meant to you, that speaks volumes. That's what makes this 100-year thing going to be 200 years and hopefully 300 years, is that we have people who leave us but don't forget us. They leave us but don't forget us. And that is so important because we rely heavily, as our outgoing executive director who's done such a great job, Clayton McClintock, has told me, you know, we really need to rely on the generosity of the community in order to help fulfill our mission, which is to train anybody who comes through the door. The University of California accepts the top 12%. Cal State University accepts the top 20%. California community colleges like SRJC, we accept the top 100%. Thank you. And when you look at the stories of our students, and you'll hear from them today, but at graduation, I acknowledged Johnny Smith. Johnny Smith grew up in a very difficult family environment. He got into drugs, he got into crime. He was in prison, and he decided he wanted to change his life. And he came back to SRJC, and I'm going to have lunch with Johnny in the next few weeks. He graduated with 3 degrees from SRJC with a 4.0, and he's going to be attending the University of California at Berkeley in the fall. So that's just an example of what we do at the JC. And now we're moving into the prisons. We're actually working with incarcerated inmates who want to change their lives around, like Johnny Smith. And we have gone into the county jails, and we're providing courses in math and English and getting students to get their GED. And we're even offering culinary classes for job training skills. And once those students are released, they're going to come to JC and enter our Second Chance Club, which has been a successful support system for other ex-felons or formerly incarcerated, whatever you want to call them. And they're going to succeed, because how else in our society are we going to break this cycle of recidivism if we don't provide these folks with the opportunity to better their lives, not just give them a pat on the back and say good luck, but give them the kind of skills that all of our students deserve. So I feel really, really great that the JC is moving in the right direction. We have our challenges and we have our issues. However, I think because of the community support, because of all of you in this room, you make it happen for us. And I'll just close with a quote that I really like. And they asked about, and it was a time when I was working in the Obama administration and Joe Biden was sitting with some of us, and he said, you know, education really is about turning mirrors into windows. And that's what we do for our students. We turn mirrors into windows so they can look out at beautiful Sonoma County. Thank you very much for being here today. I really appreciate it.
All right. I didn't even have to give him the hook this year, so that was kind of good. Thank you, Dr. Chung. It is my sincere pleasure this morning to introduce two very special colleagues of mine and the real reason why SRJC Petaluma is humming along as a center for innovation and student success, Drs. Catherine Williams and Matthew Long. At the heart of any great institution of higher learning are its faculty, and SRJC Petaluma is blessed with SRJC's finest. While faculty do their great work inside and outside the classroom, the glue that truly binds the diverse elements of an academic institution together are invested in its deans. Deans have one of the toughest jobs in the institution. They're sandwiched between the board and executives like Dr. Chong and me, demanding they hold the line on everything from policy to productivity, and on the other by faculty and students who are vast in number and just brimming with big ideas and needs that demand immediate resolution. When deans are great, the institution runs smoothly, innovation flourishes, and students experience life-changing education. Catherine and Matthew are the epitome of great deans. When Dr. Chong called on me around this time last year to serve as SRJC's Vice President of Academic Affairs, these two individuals stepped up to co-lead SRJC Petaluma. I'm not sure they knew how many sleepless nights would come with that opportunity, but they took on the challenge as the consummate professionals I know them to be, and I am grateful for their loyalty and service to the college and the campus. They are an unassailable and inseparable team. Their partnership brings to life a collaboration rare in higher education, but one we know best serves our students. And that's when no barriers, no competition, and no turf wars exist between those who work in academic affairs and those who work in student services. Between them, Catherine and Matthew have created a teaching and learning culture that is the envy of this district and colleges across the state. I was at a recent statewide gathering of community college leaders when someone leaned over to read my name badge. Upon seeing I was from Santa Rosa Junior College, he got very animated and asked if I might possibly know who it was at SRJC that created the Student Success Team concept that had been recognized by the California Community College's Chancellor's Office. I was very proud to tell him not only did I know Matthew Long and Byron Reeves, I'd hired them right here at SRJC Petaluma. I am delighted this morning to introduce to you two of SRJC's not just great deans, but greatest administrators, Dr. Catherine Williams and Matthew Long.
Good morning. Thank you for being here today. Today we are fundraising and fundraising because you are essential to moving our students towards their future. First, I want to let you know about, first of all, you have a handout on your table. I'm going to refer to it. But first, I want to let you know about some important news. Our theme today is migration, and with the shocking loss of homes after the 2017 fires, we are experiencing the biggest migration out of Sonoma County to date. This impact is not shared equally. The cost of housing is disproportionately affecting our renters and causing housing instability for our most vulnerable community members. We desperately need to build more housing in Sonoma County. The Santa Rosa Junior College and the Petaluma campus are leaning in to respond to our community's housing crisis. SRJC has applied to an $8 million federal disaster relief grant. With this slide, we will build a construction and trades training center right here on the Petaluma campus. We will train people for careers in construction, landscape installation, beginning electrical, solar, water utility, wastewater operations, and HVAC refrigeration. And together, we will rebuild Sonoma County. Yes. We have some more good news to celebrate. Today, with your support, we are breaking ground and opening doors to STEM education and STEM careers. We are expanding our STEM operations based on this strong demand we're hearing from our students. In a survey of our students, we asked them, what is special about the Petaluma campus to you? And here's what they had to say. They said they appreciate our small school environment, our more intimate, more friendly, more welcoming campus. Location is also important to our students. This is a campus of convenience, but convenience is not about laziness, it is about resources. The resources in time, money, and energy it would take to drive to Santa Rosa, find parking, and navigate a bigger campus. And I also want to note that this is a campus of choice, that our outstanding faculty and student services are drawing students from the Petaluma campus even when it is not convenient. So what we heard over and over from our students, that while they love SRJC Petaluma, we also heard that we had a major problem, that 60% of our students complained about not being able to get the classes here that they need. What classes are they asking for? Biology, chemistry, and even advanced math. Who wants advanced math? Motivated students on the move, that's who. The demand for STEM education majors is exploding here and across the nation, and it's in response to the job growth in these fields. Allied health careers alone are expected to grow 20% in the next 5 years. And that is why we are here today. We are here to respond to this cry from our students that there's a forced migration happening right here, sending our students to the Santa Rosa campus when they want to be here. Let me pause and introduce Courtney. Courtney is a Casa Grande High School graduate. She came to SRJC Petaluma immediately after graduation. Growing up, Courtney was inspired by her mother, Erin's, hard work to make ends meet as a single parent of 5 kids. She saw how her mother was able, with her college graduation degree, to transition into a successful career as a molecular biochemist. Courtney's story reflects these student voices heard in our survey. She had a great first semester here at SRJC Petaluma. She then had to migrate up to the Santa Rosa campus for her chemistry classes. This transition was jarring for Courtney. It took her several years, actually, to get her footing on the Santa Rosa campus. For Courtney, the Petaluma campus was more than just about saving time and money. It was also about having the psychological resources of feeling connected. And although all of Courtney's classes are still on the Santa Rosa campus, she is still connected here. She still comes here for her student services. And today we're proud to announce that she will be transitioning this fall to start her degree at the University of California at Santa Cruz. Congratulations, Courtney. So here at SRJC Petaluma, every year we have about 1,000 students like Courtney who start their STEM pathway by enrolling in our first-year biology and chemistry offerings and then later continuing their studies at the Santa Rosa campus. So thanks to your support, our Sonoma County voters, and the Measure H bond, we are breaking ground today on our new science classroom additions for chemistry and anthropology. If you have never seen administrators stand awkwardly with a golden shovel, I invite you to join us today at 9:30 immediately after our breakfast. We will have a new STEM quad that will actually be a STEAM quad because it will be joined with our art painting classroom. STEAM is an educational initiative that adds arts to the original STEM framework with the goal of fostering true innovation by combining the mind of a scientist with that of an artist or designer. And we have a lot of creative ideas packed into this project. We have an outdoor classroom with writable glass walls. We have a pollinator garden that can support hands-on biology and botany lab activities. And multiple anthropology dig sites are planned, a natural one in the ground and a staged one where Michelle Hughes Markovitz can set up murder scenes and have her forensic anthropology students solve them. In addition, we'll have many opportunities to have science on display in the classroom. We've worked hard on the vision for these classrooms and excited to see it built over the next 6 months, thanks to the great work of our SRJC colleagues, TBP Architecture, Brokaw Designs, and JL Construction. However, we're here fundraising and friend-raising this morning because we need your help to complete the instructional equipment that will support the STEM academic programs. And you will see on your table what we need to continue to expand our STEM offerings on the Petaluma campus in biology, chemistry, and physics. But we're so grateful to know that with ingenuity and friends like you, we can do it. Thank you.
Each year, faculty at SRJC Petaluma select a theme around which different disciplines from science to humanities explore a complex issue. This year's theme, migration, provided a wide lens to examine everything from the history of migrants to the migration of planets and monarch butterflies. You get the idea. Well, the concept of migration serves as an apt illustration for the work we do in student services as well. Because what is migration? It's the movement of people from one part of something to another, a change of position. It's a journey. Each and every year, the college takes a new set of students on a journey from their unique starting place to somewhere new, a new place within themselves, within our college, and within our society. Our job in student services is to organize that movement, to make it an intentional process. So let's talk about that student migration in the context of two individuals. First, Rosa Collin. Rosa is a fantastic example of that intentional migration I'm talking about. Rosa's journey from Casa Grande High School quickly moved from one of passively receiving education to taking an active role in her college experience. Rosa was a founding member of our student ambassador team. It's affectionately called Team Red, and Rosa is the R in Team Red, in case you're wondering. Team Red's work with Jumpstart, a program we run within the high schools to assist with that student migration, that student transition from high school to college. And Team Red's work now actually extends all the way into our middle schools. Here's a picture of our outreach program. Let's go back there. Here's a picture of our outreach program, which brings those middle schoolers to the Petaluma campus and gives them a sense of what it's like to be a college student. But back to Rosa. Beyond a rigorous schedule of classes to complete her sociology major, Rosa made her way to become the chief student government officer for the Petaluma campus. And in this role, she was a champion of the Student Resource Center for housing and food insecure students. The Student Resource Center is a one-stop shop, disseminating tons of fresh and dry food every week, as well as operating an emergency loan program, registration for CalFresh food benefits, and an online database of local housing options. The center is funded by the college, federal and state grants, and by fundraising like we do today. Now let's turn to another student, Diego Morfin. Diego is what I like to call a bi-campus student who lives and takes most of his classes in Santa Rosa, but has found a home, a family, as he likes to describe it, here at the Petaluma campus. Diego describes himself as a student who struggled to get above a 2.0 GPA when first attending college. He liked to call this sophisticated strategy half-assing it. However, step by step, movement occurred for Diego. With the support of various programs, Diego found mentors and his own motivation. Diego is now one of the star coaches of our award-winning Student Success Team, a peer-to-peer mentoring program. And this year, Diego and the Student Success Team piloted a new concept here at SRJC Petaluma, that of academic houses. Each entering student is put into a house according to their academic interests and assigned a student success coach like Diego. Okay, this may feel a bit familiar, but academic houses actually serve a function, an important function of aligning the right services and activities to the right students at the right time. This is one of our strategies for intentionally guiding that student journey. Both the programs of Diego and Rosa that they currently represent are looking forward to having a new home in the upcoming year. Thanks to your support as a voter of Measure H, the student engagement facilities we so sorely need will come into being. In this new home, Diego and the Student Success Program will surround lounging students in the new Student Success and Engagement Center. This is an approach I like to call stealth mentoring. Students are in the middle, and support is all around the outside. Students never really know what just hit them. In the new facility, Rosa's outreach team will greet students and the public in our new Welcome Center. And geez, with that new big welcome sign, maybe we'll all know where the entrance to this campus really is. The movement of both Rosa and Diego over their educational careers at the JC, the migration from high school to college, but more importantly, the journey into confidence and empowerment comes through the faith and confidence we have in our students and our intentional programs. This idea was echoed by renowned sociologist Dr. Victor Rios And Dr. Rios was the keynote at our campus's third annual Social Justice Conference this April that drew over 550 folks.
Let's believe in young people. Let's provide them the right kinds of resources. I'll tell you what my teacher did for me. She believed in me so much that she tricked me into believing in myself.
The belief in our students, the opportunities we give them to migrate to their better selves are what we stand for here at the JC. And while we're standing for something, why don't we ask Diego, who is able to be here today, to stand so we can congratulate him on his next journey to Sonoma State. Would you please stand up and be recognized, Diego? Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine and Matthew, for your outstanding work and contributions to SRJC Petaluma. Oh, yeah, don't steal that. I do want to announce, I was given a tip that the Santa Rosa Junior College Board of Trustees Board President Jordan Burns is able to join us today too, so welcome. I wanted to be sure to mention him. So today's featured speaker has been on the Friends of Petaluma Campus Trust keynote bucket list for quite some time. And while there may still be folks in Petaluma and Sonoma County who do not know him, sort of like Frank Chong, I doubt there are few in this room that have not heard him speak on one topic or another. Brian Sobel spent several years working for a major corporation as a writer, training consultant, and video producer before opening his Petaluma-based consulting firm, Sobel Communications. He's been a candidate for the California State Assembly, a planning commissioner and vice mayor of Petaluma, and an on-air political analyst on Bay Area television, where he's often asked for insight on the current state of national, state, and local politics. He's currently the chairman of the board of directors of the Bank of Marin, headquartered in Novato. I make it a practice to spend some time each year with our featured speakers to learn more about them, but mostly to find out how they're connected with community colleges. Some people say I don't have any connection, and eventually we find that they do have connections. And when Brian and I spoke, I learned he was on the Petaluma City Council during the time that SRJC was looking to find a location for the Petaluma campus. So to borrow a lyric from Hamilton, Brian was in the room where it happens when SRJC Petaluma was being conceived. He also confessed he attended a community college, College of Marin, which we don't hold against him. And my own research uncovered he sat on the Petaluma City Council for 10 years, some of that with one councilwoman, Lynn Woolsey. I also learned that he's the owner of a baseball team. Is that true? Partly? Okay. The San Rafael Pacifics. But now I think it's time we let Brian share his own story as only he can. So please join me in welcoming today's featured speaker, Brian Sobel.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm going to tell you how difficult it is to follow the a cappella version of the national anthem from the president of the school. I don't know that I can top that. Or his Joe Biden story. The only Joe Biden story I have is that when I was kicking around the United States Capitol years ago, and in the days that Joe Biden was a United States Senator, I'd see him a lot and talk with him a lot in the hallways of the Senate side of the Capitol. And the joke there in the Capitol was that Joe Biden, who talked to everybody, would attend the opening of an envelope. So we'll probably be hearing a whole lot more about Joe Biden as time goes on here. But one of the admonitions that you learn in politics, if you're listening at all, is that no political speech is too short. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about my experiences with community college, this particular community college. And I wanted to start by mentioning two people that are near and dear to me. Now, I don't want to start naming names because I know a lot of the people in the room here, but I do want to acknowledge two people, one of whom is not here this morning, and that is Congresswoman Lynn Woolsey. She was scheduled to be here and did not make it, but she was incredibly important, I need to tell you, in the development of this campus. The other person that I want to acknowledge is Kathleen Doyle. Where's Kathleen? Right there. Kathleen simply loves this place. We've worked together for many years. I think, how many buildings are named after you here? 5, 6, 1? Okay. I swear as I walk around the campuses, I see the Kathleen Doyle building and all, you know. But anyway, a huge supporter of the Santa Rosa JC and Petaluma campus. I want to go back in time a little bit, because if Lynn were here, I would talk about our serving together in 1985, when the Santa Rosa Junior College narrowed the choice of campus locations from 5 to 2, and then 2 to 1, and this became the site of the campus. Meanwhile, the city council on which I was serving was looking at a much larger development opportunity out here, roughly 680 acres of what was called then the Corona Eli Specific Plan. The city worked on a housing plan that included a lot of schools, WA, Old Adobe, Petaluma City Schools, and most importantly, the Santa Rosa JC campus. There were many meetings, and in 1990, the City Council approved the formal annexation of 680 acres, and in 1992, groundbreaking for this campus started the important process that resulted in the campus opening for classes in 1995. What a wonderful early history. Now, why is history important? Because the birth of a community college in any community brings together a city in a way nothing else can. Politics, the world in which I spend a lot of time, can and seems today to be especially divisive. But the idea of a place for anyone and everyone to learn together is the glue that brings us together as a community. My own experience includes time at a community college before transferring to a 4-year institution. It was a time and is a time that I remember with great fondness. But to be truthful, I wasn't thinking about how the school fit into the community at the time. I was just out of high school. I wouldn't learn until much later that without a community college, a city or a county would be lacking a true treasure. Only later, when I was part of the business community and an elected official and a proud resident, did I fully realize the importance of a community college. And ever since, I carry this important message to whomever will listen. As it was alluded to, I do a lot of Bay Area television, but I do a lot of television out of the area. I speak with a lot of people around the country. And one of the things that I can always weave into a conversation when I get past that I can probably hook you up with a great bottle of wine is we have a tremendous asset in the community in the Petaluma campus of the Santa Rosa JC. Over the years, I've watched the growth of this campus. I've walked the grounds many, many times, and I'm filled with pride at the development of the school and the breadth of the curricula offered at the campus here and in Santa Rosa. Santa Rosa JC is the envy of California, and I mean that. Wherever you travel in California, if you are talking about JCs, everybody knows about Santa Rosa JC. And I'm pleased to say that Petaluma plays a huge part in that reputation. That said, the development of such an important resource, such as this school, requires the involvement of everyone in this community. That includes community leaders, local businesses, residents of the community, all pulling together to make sure the college has the ongoing support to ensure success. This involves financial support when and how you can, and certainly support at the ballot box when the college seeks our support. If we fail to support the college, the opportunities for many in the community to take advantage of this most wonderful resource is lost. One of the things one learns about a community college is that it serves people of all ages and interests. Sure, there are high school graduates who are attending college for the first time, but I've always been actually as impressed that the college helps people who may be changing careers and need to acquire additional skills, or returning students who may have left college and went to work and then decided, no, I need a degree, or the disabled, or international students, a whole variety of people who attend here to obtain a degree or a needed certificate, or others who may just have an interest in a particular subject and simply enjoy learning. I think about Joan in my office, who graduated. Joan, wave. Joan has been in we've worked together for how many years? 30 years. So I was 14 and Joan graduated from a four-year college, later became a grade school teacher. She probably made a mistake by leaving all those good things and coming to work for some guy who has his office in Petaluma. But that aside, one of the things I want to point out is that over the years that we have worked together, all these years, every year of all those years, Joan has enrolled in classes at the JC, studying and improving her computer skills or pursuing just her interests in a variety of subjects. For me, like so many students, like Joan and others, learning is a lifelong proposition. And without a Santa Rosa JC, this would be a much tougher proposition. So, my message today is we have a diamond here, and we need to protect it, support it, and revel in its continued success. This campus continues to grow. We should all be impressed about that. And with the help of everyone in this room, anything is possible. Just the number of people that I'm looking at tells me the kind of support that this campus here has and the community college here has. We all, it's not trite to say, can make a difference. And this campus has made a profound difference in Petaluma, and for that we can be very proud. All of us in this room have contributed to the success of the Petaluma campus and the success of Santa Rosa Junior College. Together, which is what I advocate for my political friends, and we could use a lot more of that, we can continue to do great things here on this campus and in this county. And I am confident we can continue paving the way for ongoing success by supporting this great institution. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. No political predictions, but a great support for community colleges. So I'm so pleased that we have so many of SRJC Petaluma's faculty with us today. I know this is kind of impromptu, but would all of you SRJC Petaluma faculty stand so that you may be recognized by this wonderful community? So often you are under the radar. Please stand if you're a faculty member. We got a bunch of them back there in the back. While I'm no longer the person who connects directly to our students, I am the unabashedly proud curator of those who do. In the 12 years I've served as SRJC Petaluma's vice president, I've carefully and thoughtfully chosen faculty, staff, and administrators, always with an eye on what these professionals would contribute to our students and their success. With the retirements and other changes we anticipate at SRJC in the next year, I will have hired more than 90% of SRJC Petaluma's full-time faculty, all of their administrators, and the vast majority of our classified professionals. Measures A and H give us these beautiful facilities, but facilities are only empty opportunities awaiting inspired use. When you add in handcrafted faculty, classified professionals, administrators, and student workers, that's when the magic happens. Just like Catherine and Matthew, today's faculty speakers come in a set. Both have PhDs, one in anthropology, the other in sociology. Both taught in other Bay Area colleges and universities before coming to SRJC Petaluma. One is comfortable being called a hip-hop scholar, the other being called Dr. John. And both share a passion for students and the opportunities of interdisciplinary extracurricular programming, social justice, and bridging differences across racial, ethnic, and cultural divides. Dr. Amanda Morrison is the coordinator of SRJC's Our House Intercultural Center. Before her arrival in 2016, that space was known as the Resource Center, a rather uninspiring and uninviting institutional suite of offices that few students willingly sought out. As soon as we changed the name and Amanda joined the campus, that space came alive with students and student-welcoming programming. I'd never seen anything like it on the Petaluma campus, though I dreamed of it often. Soon after, and with the help of colleagues like John Stover, A.C. Pinella, Roberto Alvarado, Matthew Long, and others, Amanda helped launch our first social justice conference that, as Matthew suggested, this past spring drew so many participants we ran out of space. I don't think anyone would disagree that, that our house has not become Amanda's house. Dr. John Stover is professor of sociology at SRJC Petaluma and the first full-time sociologist on the campus. My earliest realization that John was out of the ordinary was when I turned, as we were preparing for the Butter and Egg Days parade, to find him and his partner at my shoulder mere days after I had interviewed him and forwarded his name on to Dr. Chong to recommend him to hire. The other was when he provided me with a 5-year plan that clearly delineated how he planned to partner with our house and actively engage with our campus and college community. And John, I still have that plan. Following the Parkland shooting, John organized and led an impromptu gathering of students, faculty, and other campus colleagues as we tried to make sense of that tragedy. He is always present, always collaborative, always leaning toward making this campus a stronger, more vibrant, positive, and inclusive community. He is emerging as a key faculty leader and valued advisor. It gives me great pleasure this morning to introduce my colleagues, Dr. Amanda Morrison and Dr. John Stover.
Good morning, everyone. I am honored to be able to share the collaborative work that I've been doing with Dr. John Stover over the last couple years, my close colleague and someone who has really become one of my closest friends. We've been kind of modeling what Catherine or Matthew alluded to is the across the aisles collaboration between student affairs and the academic side of things. Sometimes those are very siloed. Oh, clicker. Sorry. And our work, I think, could best be described using the term co-curricular. You might be more familiar with the term extracurricular. To me, that kind of brings to mind college football games and mainstream things like frats and sororities. Co-curricular is something very different. It's where we create learning experiences that are exciting and meaningful and memorable outside the classroom that then become integrated with the collaboration of faculty into the curriculum itself. So I come at this work, as Jane said, as lead of Our House Intercultural Center. And I want to say it's really unusual and to the credit of our administrators and their vision to bring a cultural center to a community college. You might see cultural centers at four-year colleges. Often they're organized around individual aspects of identity, like for instance, like a Chicano cultural center, LGBTQ cultural center. But here we have this opportunity to really bridge differences in our house. And it really has become a space where particularly students that are historically underrepresented and students who often feel alienated in institutional settings really feel a sense of home and nurturance. That would be LGBTQ students, students of color, first-generation college-going students, immigrant students. Part of the attraction is it's comfy, it's a loungy space, it's mellow. Also, we've co-located a lot of services that target certain populations of students. For instance, our Dream Center, that's our services for undocumented students inside our house. My main charge is to develop the slate of cultural programming every year. This ranges from across the arts, musical performances, hands-on art workshops, and one of our most popular is bringing a spoken word poetry series where we bring even national slam poetry champions into the house. And you can see that there's certainly direct correlations. The blue bars on the graph here is students who frequent our house. And there's really a lot of success associated with being this engaged at this level in college life. So persistence here, it's just students aren't dropping out. They're coming back semester to semester. A big part of the community we've been building, and you can see Dr. Stover is there, AC Pinella is there. Our QSU, or Queer Student Union, has made a real home and made our house a vibrant space for LGBTQ students. These photos are from an event on National Coming Out Day, in which the QSU students and allies had beautiful portraits taken. Another thing that's emerged out of the culture of our house and this bridging culture is our Black and Brown Union, another club. Here you see photos from the day we took students to the Oakland Museum exhibit of hip hop. I had some influence in that choice, but, and then we went out for soul food. So it's really become, we've been doing a lot of bridging across difference. That's a big theme here.
One of the things you might be wondering about at this point is, well, what the hell does sociology have to do with this? And what is sociology in the first place? And sociology is really the perfect discipline to do the kind of bridging that Dr. Morrison just discussed. Sociology as a discipline is about understanding how the world shapes who we are as social actors and how we as social actors make the world what it is. It is about, as Peter Berger tells us, making the invisible visible. And what are some of these maybe not so invisible forces that are shaping society today? Like I tell my students, we are living in the future of this country now, right here in California. Our young people, our students, the young people in your lives, they are already living the thriving racial and ethnic and gender and sexually fluid identities that are generally accepted, not completely, but generally accepted and more prominent here in California on the West Coast, and are becoming more of the norm across the country. Sadly, we are also experiencing in this country a resurgence of profound racism, hatred, animosity, and really at the base of it is fear. It's fear of change. As a sociologist and sociology as a discipline can and does help students navigate and combat these threats and also embrace the opportunities to maintain a thriving democracy. The sociology curriculum here is small, but it is mighty. And as the sole sociologist on campus, I go deep with my students across the classes we offer, highlighted in the multicolors you see here. I'm very proud to be growing the number of students who pursue sociology as their major, and I'm very excited to expand the curriculum in years to come. The authors in the text you see here as well are used specifically to represent the diversity of our student body across the multiple aspects of their identity that they experience, racially, economically, culturally, and politically. Taking into account the impact of the multiple aspects of our identity is what we know in sociology as intersectionality. And intersectionality and social conflict theory are two of the major frameworks that students work with in our curriculum. As you know from your own day-to-day experiences, we cannot separate out parts of our identity as we walk through the world. So as you see there in that bottom image, right, my male identity is linked to my gay identity, my white identity is linked to my middle-class identity. But the privileges I've received from my whiteness, the privileges I've received from my solid working class background have been vastly undermined throughout my life by homophobia and also the fact that I was the first person in my family to go to college and I had to take out student loans in order to do that. So I cover these theories in class, but covering them in class is not enough. So if you think about the classroom as being the lecture part of sociology, then our house is the lab, right? It's the lab where students can continue to explore and test and apply the theories that we explore in class in real time in the real world.
So we're doing a little tag team here. So we wanted to highlight some of the most memorable for us and for students partnerships we've done and speakers that we've brought to campus in the last year. One was bringing DeRay McKesson. He's the Black Lives Matter leader, yes, who you often see on TV. He wears his signature blue vest from the Baltimore and Ferguson protests. So we brought him to campus, and our colleague Byron Reeves and I interviewed him on stage. He was promoting his new book, The Other Side of Freedom. And then we kind of went out into the audience, Oprah style, with mics so the students could do a Q&A with him. And then he was also really available for meet and greets and selfies with students. So it was a really memorable day. Oh, sorry. And also, very similarly, we kind of modeled another big event. These are high-profile events that we actually had to move out of our house into our big auditorium, because we packed the house with students who were really interested. In this case, The Pushouts is a new documentary film that, through John's expertise in that arena, we co-programmed a screening, as well as the filmmakers themselves. Don Valadez and Katie Galloway came. John and I did an interview on stage, similarly with a Q&A. And the film features prominently the life story of Dr. Victor Rios, who Matthew talked about earlier, and we'll talk about more too.
So in preparation to bring DeRay to campus, and we should mention that Copperfield Books actually reached out to us and partnered with us in this event. And so, you know, the great thing about SRJC Petaluma is that we partner regularly with the community, and these are community events. So in preparation, Amanda, Byron, and I created the interview questions. And those interview questions I used as the basis for an assignment in Soc 30, Race and Ethnic Relations. And so this is somebody that students had studied, they had read about, and students hear me say all the time that we need to be actively anti-racist, we can't be passively non-racist. And this is reinforced by the story of activism that DeRay told, and then the follow-up discussions we had in class after his visit. And then the great thing about being in conversation with Don and Katie was that it highlighted the powerful impact that documentary film has in social activism. And this was my topic of a dissertation, and I'm happy to talk about this ad nauseum, right? And this course really linked all of the work we had been doing in all of the fall classes, social problems, intro to social and race and ethnic relations, to reinforce the themes they were studying in class with this co-curricular event. And in the work of Dr. Rios, which is highlighted in those top two books, right, his research and his autobiography, which document the criminalization of young men of color in modern day justice systems, is something that he also embodies. He has had a meteoric rise out of extreme poverty in Oakland and has become one of the most famous and inspiring sociologists of the early 21st century. And this is important for our students because students can see their own struggles in his journey. Right? They can see them directly in the experiences that they've had, and they can see them in the comparisons they make between their life and his. And when students see themselves in the curriculum, they are far more likely to persist, and they're far more likely to succeed.
So yeah, then there was this kind of beautiful progression this year from the Pushouts, which features Dr. Rios' story, to, can we get him as a guest speaker? I don't know, probably not. It's probably too out of our reach. But we did manage to bring Dr. Rios to campus for our social justice conference. And I didn't even realize how deep the investment in his work was, but like you knew, but all high school students here had so many had read his work. So part of the reason 550 plus people showed up to the conference was because the students already had this passionate investment in his ideas and his inspiration, which, shout out to Stover, he knew that all along. I've assigned his work in my classes too, but it was really impactful to see him pack our house and see sort of a rapt audience of students just looking up to him as a role model.
So what we saw in his keynote and book signing, and what we also saw in the preparation, was that we prepared the campus for his talk, introducing them to his work, introducing them to his other talks, and preparing assignments that specifically incentivized and in some cases required students to be at the conference. After the book signing, Dr. Rios also wanted to meet with students who were transferring to the UC system. And he shared his own adventures in education and gave students important, invaluable advice in making the jump from a 2-year to a 4-year institution. And I would also note that he did this in the most warmest, sincerest, and approachable manners. And here again, what we're doing is we're linking the curriculum to these speakers, to these events, and giving students a chance to reflect back what they're learning. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can actually take the word of our students. And this is one of dozens of responses that I've received in follow-up when students tell me the workshops and Dr. Rios' speech reinforced the themes we've been learning throughout the semester in sociology. Institutions that reflect discrimination, the intersectionality of identity, and the mobilization of change. And I want to note that this student preempted this comment by saying, these stories are not one that are told by the mainstream media or would be heard by someone like me if it wasn't sought out specifically. So I think we can feel confident that we're reaching all of our students across the variety and complexity of their identities. So in closing, Amanda and I want to thank you for helping us bring these prominent authors and inspiring change makers to campus. We're proud of the work we've done these last few years. We're excited about the future. We're also available to answer any questions or follow any leads that you might have. We really appreciate your past and ongoing support as we undertake these important, critical work in support of our students. We hope you have a great morning, and we'll see you around campus.
Thank you, Amanda and John. I really appreciate all the work that you do on behalf of our students. I'm catching up on elected officials who are in the room, and I understand that Patsy Knight from Old Adobe Board has joined us, so we're just little by little, we're filling in the blanks. Okay, so now it's my pleasure to introduce you to Arianette Rosas Guerrero, an undergraduate student in her second year of studies here at SRJC Petaluma. Ari is a great example of a beneficiary of the unique and student-centered programs we offer here at SRJC Petaluma. A brief bio on Ari is included in your program, but really the best telling of who she is in her own voice. Please welcome today's student speaker, Arianette Rosas Guerrero.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Arianette Rosas Guerrero, Ari for short. I'm the oldest of 3 in my family. I am the first one to attend a community college or a college at all. I graduated from Sonoma Valley High School in June of 2016. My experience with school was never the best. It was never really interesting. I didn't know what I was doing. I just remember always being told to wake up early, get ready for school, go to school. There was always a lot of difficulties with my parents managing their schedule around work and any other responsibilities as parents to be able to attend any meetings at school, any phone calls from school from us getting sick and being able to take their time out of work to go pick us up or whatever it was. It was really hard to try and get used to being the oldest in my family because I also wanted to see, I saw my parents struggle and I always wanted, I was kind of like, I was upset in the way that I was the oldest and I felt like I had this responsibility of helping my parents, especially after their divorce and whatnot. But I always felt that I had that pressure of, because I was the oldest, I had to be a role model for my siblings and be able to help my mom as well, which pushed me to stress more about family issues in school, and I kept pushing school aside. And my parents always kept getting these phone calls, but it was from school. And it wasn't because I was a troublemaker or I was pushing kids around or talking back to teachers or just any other little thing. But it was because I had really low test scores, many missing assignments, and I was scoring very low on math and English test. Because of my low scores for my age and my grade level in school, I was placed in an ELD class, and I was also assigned, I don't know if that's the correct word, but an IEP as well, which was a certain disability that I had for learning skills. That followed me through elementary school all the way through high school until I graduated. Then after that, fall of 2016, I decided to come to the JC, to this campus specifically, and since then I haven't left this campus. And I decided to come to the JC, and I wasn't sure what I was doing. I just knew I had to come, and I registered for classes. I started coming, wasn't interested, didn't know what I was doing, dropped out, took 2 years off, and then I came back. And I went into the counseling office, and I met with Vince. And since then, I have not let go of Vince. He's my counselor, and it's the only one I go to. And he has helped me slowly build an education plan that we've stuck to. We have to change once in a while because of any other circumstances with classes being available or whatnot. And he has helped me a lot. Just like we saw the clip earlier of Dr. Victor Rios, my professor since I got here of last spring, Dr. John Stover, Amanda, Vince, Martin, Matthew, specifically him, because I was never able to write a paper in high school, through my whole years of education actually, never able to write an essay or a research paper. I didn't really know where my research, where to look for my research or what specifically was supposed to be in my papers. The most I would probably get in a 4-page paper was a paragraph, like 5 to 6 sentences. And then I got here and I took my first semester of English with Martin Matthew, and he believed in me because my first paper grade was a B. And since then, I've been writing, his requirements are 4 to 5, 4 to 6 papers, and I go up to 8. Like, I have to stop myself from writing, just because his topics are, he's more focused. Most of the professors here are focused not on your disabilities and trying to correct your, I guess they don't do it in a way to make you feel bad, but they focus more on the negative or what you don't have. And the professors here have helped me believe in myself because they focus on what I have and how I can improve it. And they give me those skills and techniques for me to be able to improve the abilities and the strengths that I have. So if it wasn't for them, I don't know where I would be right now. I also got the opportunity this past year to join the learning community, or Our House Learning Community Program, which is another program just like Puente. It's a group, or it's a program for first generation students. And thanks to that program, I have been able to I went to Sacramento State. I went to, Santa Cruz, I'm sorry. And if it wasn't for them, I probably we wouldn't have heard or done any research from those colleges, and I wouldn't have been able to actually had a tour with my colleagues and my professors. All I have to say is thank you for all you do, and thank you for being here today, and thanks to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Ari. I don't know what kind of courage it takes to be a student and stand up and look out into this big audience and be able to stand here and speak as you do, but great job, great job. Our program's nearly completed, which means we're almost ready to send you off into your day. But before we do that, I'd like to ask one more person to join me on stage. It's my pleasure this morning to introduce Mike Baddeley, partner with Petaluma-based Baddeley, Oliker, and Sartori. Mike is an alum of SRJC who transferred to UC Davis for his BA and went on to receive his law degree at Golden State University. I first met him when I joined the Rotary Club of Petaluma and learned early on that to give him a microphone was sure to provoke at least one lawyer joke and inspire his unique brand of wit and fun, just the sort of energy that we need this morning to help us make a special ask. Please welcome Mike Baddeley.
Thank you. They say you save the best to last, but apparently Jane made an exception today. And it was nice hearing Dr. Chong sing. That was a treat. That might have been the best rendition since the last one I heard. But if the Giants played like you sing, they'd be, well, maybe they do. Anyhow. And then seeing Brian Sobel, I usually see him on TV, so great seeing you, Brian. Brian didn't tell you, he's a humble guy in some ways. He's a Golden Gate Bridge expert. He knows all there is. And I remember one time he was speaking to our Rotary Club, and he had more facts about the Golden Gate Bridge than I thought existed. But we asked him a question he still hasn't answered. He was on the city council at the time, and he gave us this cost of the Golden Gate Bridge like at $39 million. And the question was, so in the final analysis, Brian, what's going to cost more, the Golden Gate Bridge or the Rainer overpass? So I'm waiting for my answer. I think I know it. Anyhow, and then Jane's right, quite frankly, she's very courageous, more than you know. Because I was surprised when she called me, because the last time I spoke at the, I think it was the Benedetti Award at Petaluma Hospital Foundation, by the time I finished up there were policemen turning in badges, grown men were weeping, and nuns are still going to confessional. So I'm going to spare you that one. But, I will acknowledge, too, Rod Moore, a local attorney who brought me. He does a lot of family law, criminal law, a little personal injury work, and he's a alum of JC like I am. But he's one of the most positive guys I've ever met, especially for an attorney. He's not super aggressive. He will defend, but he's very contemplative and very fair. And he was telling me one time he had a criminal defendant accused of bad crime, actually. And Rod gets the guy in the office. He just got the police report, and he tells the poor guy, he says, I've got good news and bad news. And the guy says, well, I like to take it straight, give me the bad news. And he goes, well, the bad news is, quite frankly, your blood is all over the crime scene. The DNA test prove you did it. And the guy says, that's horrible, that's awful. He says, what's the good news? He goes, your cholesterol's 130. So, anyhow, enough of that. They, now for the real fun part, they wanted me to share a little bit my story and how I ended up at the JC. My family moved to Petaluma in 1965. I was 10 years old, and it was a pretty circuitous route that involved moving like around 10 times. So we ended up in a little 5-acre decommissioned chicken ranch out off of Corona Road by the old WAS school out there. And we lived in an egg shed that had no insulation and, no heat. And quite frankly, it was an outhouse. And what's an outhouse? But we learned. And I didn't really know how bad we have until I was in Rotary, and a guy named Tom Baker was asking, so where'd you grow up again? And I told him, I said, off of Corona Road. He goes, oh, you were one of the Corona Road Okies. Who knew? And I've never been to Oklahoma. But anyhow, I went to WAS School, which was a 3-room schoolhouse with, I think, 12 kids in our graduating 6th grade class. I think half of them made it through high school. But it wasn't the academic hotbed of Petaluma, and certainly higher education was not a topic of conversation. So off I go to Kenilworth, which was the old Kenilworth, now Target, and then to Petaluma High School. So without any guidance from anybody in our family about higher education, you can see where children get into a pattern. You emulate your parents, and you just think, well, I'll go to work. But I always knew education was the gift you gave yourself. And don't ask me why I knew that. I just loved to read. I had some good teachers in elementary school before I got here, and there was one that resonated with me at WAS School. Although when she had the student-teacher conference with my mom when I was in 6th grade, she told my mom I was either going to be a politician, an attorney, or a bad criminal. So my mom focused on criminal, but I didn't. So anyhow, off I went, and when I got out of high school, I knew that I wanted to, and oh, by the way, I was a past school board president of Petaluma City School District, and I think I'm the only past school district board member who's ever been suspended from every school he was at before he got into college. And you'll be happy to know it wasn't for academic impropriety, it was for big weight defiance. And that's what a lot of kids that come out of that situation do, because a lot of them, they have chips, big chips. And as a society, we move on and move on. But some of those kids, there's a lot of potential in them. So at the end of the day, I ended up thinking what to do. So I asked people. I would run into people whose dads or moms went to college and just talk to them about it. So off I went to the JC, which was at the old, it wasn't at the old campus, that was at Santa Rosa. In those days, you could get there real quick. Like, remember when people grew up here, remember when we could go to Santa Rosa like in 15 minutes? Sometimes 10, but the Highway Patrol didn't like that. So went up there, and it was eye-opening to me, because for all kinds of reasons. You got to pick your curriculum. I still remember my counselor, a guy named Bailey, and he was awesome. And I do remember the first professor that I had at JC, when people tell you, oh, it's just like high school. No, it's not just like high school, because I remember walking into my California history class, and a professor named Dean Frazier, and it wasn't too long after the introductions where he was dropping F-bombs on us. And I remember thinking, whoa, I mean, I heard some teachers cuss before, but usually they were my coaches. I missed a take sign or something. Anyhow, up I go, and the JC was really, really helpful to me, because one is I had to work my whole way through, and it was a way for me to get to the next level, which was I wanted to go to UC Davis. So I went through the JC, and I ended up getting my A degree, and then off to UC Davis. And I think it's still true of the JC today. They had reciprocity with UC Davis and Berkeley, which I thought was great. So off I went to Davis, and then after Davis went on to law school and clerked for a big firm, and realized real quick, I don't want to work for a big firm. So I came back to Petaluma and hung out my own shingle, and I remember after about 2 years, a young woman who I had hung around with a lot in law school, she had gone the corporate route, and they were grinding her like 80 hours a week, and she was ready to start her family, and she had come up to me and sought me out at a party. She goes, Mike, you're one of the few guys in our class that went out on his own. And she said, how'd you have the courage to do that? And I smiled. I said, it wasn't courageous. I was just too young and dumb to know I shouldn't. So anyhow, Petaluma was great for me. I came back. I really loved Petaluma. I was embraced as a business person with all the businessmen that I knew as misters, and maybe hit their liquor cabinet once in a while and took out their daughters. But they were very embracing of me, and joined the Rotary Club, which I'm very proud to be a member of. And anyhow, so it was great. I was able to raise my family. My wife was able to stay home for the most part and raise our children. So it worked out really well for me, for an Okie. Anyhow, at the end of the day, and I trust me, I love Tom Baker. It was how people thought. When you're in those circumstances, you don't externalize. You don't really see how other people see you. And I got kind of lucky, because the era I grew up in, as most of you can remember, like the late, I came here in 65, but when I went to junior high school, it was the late 60s, and high school, early 70s. But it was kind of, where it was cool to be poor. I mean, we're lucky. We're cool to be poor. So nobody jacked you up if you weren't wearing the right shirt, the right clothes. That's not so true. I have 4 children. Watch what they went through in high school. And there's a lot of pressure on these kids to have the latest, greatest, and you all know with the advent of technology, how expensive that can be. But anyhow, JC served me very well, gave me a great basic education, exposed me to college, and turned me on to wanting the professional career. And JC came back into my life when I was practicing for about, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years. Here comes technology, right? And for those of us that are older, it's not acquired taste. The kids seem they're born to it, and we're like, what? Turn on a computer, how do you do that? So anyhow, my secretaries were starting to ask me for computer equipment stuff, and I'd see them do things, and I thought, man, that doesn't make any sense. And so I took an 8-week course at JC over when they had the trailers in Petaluma, the Petaluma campus, and it was great. Took a WordPerfect course, and I understand what it does. I still one finger type, but I understand what it needs to do. So it was really eye-opening for me to come back and use JC once again. And that time, I think the cost was a whopping $12 a unit or something. But anyhow, happy to pay it, and it was great. So, moral of the story is we need the JC, and the JC is great, and it's a bridge, and it's a bridge more than a lot of people understand. And even if it took a kid 3, 4 years to get through the JC, get through it, they will and they should. And for you as UF community members, whether you want to go back and learn something about viticulture, you want to learn something about a foreign language. I know some of my friends are going to go travel. They want to take a class in Italian, Spanish. There's a lot of things that JC offers us as a community, so it's a great community resource. So it's not just for high school students coming in. So with that, I just want you to know we're here because we love the JC, and we appreciate the generous support of the community, but today we're going to ask for a little bit more, and not a lot. You know how attorneys are. They don't ask for a lot. We just want a little bit. We had this wonderful fundraising breakfast, and I want to raise some money right now today to support the students and programs on the Petaluma campus. This is the biggest fundraising event of the year, and the goal for today is $50,000 for the Petaluma Student Success Fund. This fund supports students and helps programs right here on the SRJC campus. Thanks to the generous support of our silver sponsors and table sponsors, we're only $20,000 from our goal. So if you're sitting at a sponsored table, all of you, I would like you to consider donating. Now, Jane goes low. She said $50. I say $100, okay? Because that's what, let's see, I went to Seared with my good friend and our wives, and by the time they got done with Cosmos, and they were still functional to make dinner, it was $145 for Cosmos. So I'm going to throw $100. I'm going to lead right now. I know this will scare Rod, but Rod, right there. So I'm leading, put my money where my mouth is, so to speak. And I would encourage all of you to do the same. So if you have to skip around to Cosmos, I understand and I appreciate it. So this all goes to our students, and I know there's many of you who have already made contributions, and I just want to, all the people that are here, the students you hear, and young Ari, you're going to make it. And you know why? Because you focus on what you have and what you don't have. And not on what you don't have, you focus on what you do have, and we're going to make sure you have, okay? So let's pony up, and if you could all match me, that'd be awesome. I want to help Jane. I want to keep her job. And Petaluma Success Fund will support students with money for whatever is needed to get them to college, to keep them in class, to provide the best education and support, and help them achieve their goals, whether it's transfer, degree, certificate, and we have a few examples. So with that, I would like to present Anna. Okay? Are you going to present Anna?
No.
Oh, you're going to be Anna.
Yeah, I am.
Who knew? All right, so Jane's going to give you a few anecdotes. Now, let me just see if I have to come back up here. Yes, I do. I get to come back up. For the closing ask, or are you going to do the closing ask? That's enough? You've had enough of Mike?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Dr. Chong, she keeps her job? That's the deal? All right.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I warned you. You give him a mic, and but it's a great story, and it truly is the case. I donate as an employee to this beautiful campus. I know what it means. If you're able, Mike has promised not to take any retainers out of anything that we get today. Your help matters. It truly matters. It makes the difference sometimes between providing the experiences that we talked about in our house and that Ari has had opportunities to experience, and really enriching the opportunities here. So whatever you can do, we appreciate. And I want to thank Mike for sharing his story, because we forget, actually, that we all have stories. We all we didn't hatch out of the egg as vice presidents or business owners or, leaders in this community. And if you tap into your experience, it's very helpful. So no event of this magnitude happens without a village of helping hands, unselfishly taking on tasks large and small. And all of you know who you are and what you did, and why I'm so grateful to have you in our corner. I am deeply appreciative of today's silver sponsors: Clover-Sonoma, Exchange Bank, Lace House Linen Supply, Mahoney Davison and Company Property Management, Torkelson and Associates LLP, Certified Public Accountants, and JL Construction for stepping up and giving us just a bit more this year. I want to thank all of our loyal table sponsors for bringing our community to this event. You are the best community this Vice President has ever served. Before you leave, I want to invite you to find out who among your table mates has a birthday closest to June 6th, and that person gets to take home the centerpiece. And on your way out, please stop by the Friends of Petaluma Campus Trust registration tables if you're so inclined to leave your donation before you today. We have arranged for quick and easy credit card payments using Square technology. You can also just leave a pledge on the table and we will contact you afterward. If you do make a donation, we have on the table some freshly baked $sign cookies. So take a cookie as the first token of our gratitude, and also consider sharing it and what you've learned today with someone who was not with us today. For those of you who love a great takeaway, we always have some SRJC Petaluma swag on the way out, so you should feel free to take some of that with you as a remembrance of today's event. And then lastly, all of you are invited to join us for a brief Measure H groundbreaking ceremony immediately following. We will we have guides going over to that area. If you're able to attend, we have volunteers that will lead you. Lastly, if there is anyone in the room that would like to explore the inner workings of this campus and haven't done so already, we do have volunteers that would take you on a personal tour. I think we're assessing our birthdays right now. So I got one last final comment. This is your community's college, and it's been my honor to have you here today as our guests. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your continued support of our students and your trust in me and the work we do here at SRJC Petaluma to serve this community. Thank you for all you do to support this great community, this great college, and this great campus. Please drive safely and have an enjoyable rest of your day. Thank you for being here.